restaurants are struggling to survive under lockdown regulations. Although they've been allowed to reopen, it's under strict regulations. And the curfew, as well as the ban on alcohol sales, does not help. Many restaurants have had to close their doors. Wendy Alberts is CEO of the Restaurant Association of South Africa, and she joins us now for more. Very good evening to you, Wendy, and thank you very much for joining us. A number of organizations that have been in existence for years this week finding out that they will be closing their doors. You would have thought that perhaps such establishments would have survived a couple of months of lockdown, but alas, what has been the far-reaching impact of the lockdown?
I think about 2 weeks ago we took to the streets with a Million Seats on the Streets campaign, which really outlined the devastation of the industry as well as the urgency. And we handed over to the Minister of Tourism a memorandum to both the President and the Minister of Culture. This is very, very important for us because we say to them, a day in the life of a restaurateur is like a year in their lives. And if urgency is not applied and communication lines are not opened, and we don't implore dialogue to look at sustainable ways of opening, we're going to have more and more fatalities falling prey to the restaurant industry every day. And we certainly have seen that over the last 10 days since that engagement with the Minister of Tourism. How many more iconic restaurants around South Africa, restaurants in the tourism belt, international restaurants, fine dining restaurants have closed down, and this is a very, very sad state of affairs for the industry at this time.
And of course, having a direct impact on jobs.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we close on over 400,000 or 500,000 jobs that have been lost. The various businesses that do the HR and labour relations have reported thousands and thousands of retrenchments on a daily basis. So it is quite drastic times out there. And the concerning thing is it's taken us such a long time to build employment, to take on the challenges that both tourism and local government departments have given to us in terms of rebuilding job sustainability, to just destroy it in a very, very short time.
Insurance payouts, what have we seen where that is concerned?
Look, last week they brought a little bit of hope and some sigh of relief. We certainly had TERS extended to the 15th. We need that TERS extended again. So we certainly are in communication now to extend it once again because we're still not functioning to full capacity. We've asked for the banks to readjust their lending rates, and they've just closed their doors on us. They're just really everything we're asking is falling on deaf ears. We received a list from the Department of Tourism of the 200 million that was paid out. I mean, there's very few restaurants, if any, on that list who have received the benefits. We're still waiting for landlords to understand the role and relationship that they need to play in terms of keeping the industry alive. We've asked for them to go back to the necessary powers that be, with the POA and both the Shopping Centre Council to knock on the door of the Reserve Bank to look at special concessions in able to pass that forward. We also understanding that they've got businesses to run, but if we don't all put a framework in place to hold on and sustain the restaurants, you can see what's happening just this week with iconic restaurants that closed down. There's still very imminent time. We've got a lot of staff on unemployment, a lot of staff that are now on the unemployment balance sheets of the government. We're still struggling to get our rebates back from SAMRO and SAMPRA. SABC TV licenses said, look, they're not at all going to rebate any licenses, so we've sent them off quite a hard letter to do that. We certainly did write to the President's office. They responded to us, saying they understand the hardships, but do they really understand the hardships? Because if you're on the forefront of where we're sitting, you'll understand how many businesses are closed, how many jobs have been lost, and how far and wide the contribution to the GDP is going to be devastated in the future.
Are you saying here this is the end for these businesses, or they could possibly recuperate once the lockdown has been lifted?
We've been in engagements with the liquor to try and get the liquor upstanding. Everything is perfect about timing. We've said timing is a critical part to getting the consumer mobilized. The last 3 weeks we certainly have seen the consumer returning to our restaurants, but they also want the full package. They don't want to come into our restaurants and not to be able to have wine pairing or have a cocktail or have an alcoholic beverage. It's part of the experience of who we are as part of restaurants. We are the celebration of every part and cornerstone of every home. We're the extension of your daily life. And if we're not given a full experience, there's no need for consumers to invest in the restaurant. So whilst we've outlined to the consumers that we've got all the protocols, health, hygiene standards of the highest, we've continued to talk to the consumer, we're appreciative of it, government still needs to talk to us. So, for a very brief week, we had open lines of communication. I applauded the Minister of Tourism for her efforts to expedite it. But, in the last 10 days, again, they've gone cold on us. And, this is not how you save an industry. This is not how you save jobs. This is certainly not how we move forward in developing a system that is a framework that is both beneficial to government and to industry. So we're not in a position just to make the rules and self-regulate. We need to engage with government to say, right, you've got to go ahead to do liquor. You've got the curfew. You can do this. And at this point in time, we're not functioning to full capacity. Many restaurants are still running at about 23 to 27% of original turnover. So there's a large amount of work that needs to be done in the restaurant industry from all parts, banks, landlords, insurances. So whilst the insurances announced the massive agreement to pay out, there seems to be this ongoing leveraging, this negotiation. Take 40% or take nothing. It's not about settling. We've paid premiums for the luxury of these policies, and they need to honour themselves. They need to ensure that they certainly are in a position to give the full scope and the full rebate that these restaurants are paid for. So it's an ongoing turn. We're trying hard to keep up with supplier payments. We're trying hard to hold on to the bit of staff that we've got left. And there's absolutely no relief from any corner of government whatsoever. No communication, no support, no financial resources, no grants, no rebates, and certainly no retention for us to be able to hold on to the staff that we've got.
Wendy Alberts is the CEO of the Restaurant Association of South Africa.